So I'm Rahul Kalidindi and I am the co-founder and CEO at Akrivia. I'm Rahul Kalidindi and I'm the co-founder and CEO at Akrivia. So I come from a background of mechanical engineering and product design. I did my master's in mechanical engineering from the University of California, Berkeley. And then in the year 2016 we started Akrivia Automation, and in 2017 we started building our first product, which is Akrivia Factory, which is an acronym for Factory Twin, which caters to the manufacturing industry. Some of our clients for factory include Tata, Hitachi, Danone, Daimler, etc. And while we were implementing these solutions for enterprises, we came across this need for integrating enterprise HRMS systems, and we knew that this space was ripe for disruption. So in the early 2018, we started developing Akrivia HCM with a vision to build a product uh, that can take on the largest enterprise players in the world like SAP and Oracle. And after 4.5 years of development, on the 15th of July, we have launched the product, and it is a sector agnostic product. We already have about 20 paying beta customers, and we expect to launch in Southeast Asia and the Middle East in the next 3 to 6 months as well.
So, what are the main features since you are saying an HMS solution? It's competing against the likes of SAP or Oracle. So, what are the one of the main features of the solution and how are they unique differentiators?
So what we work on is even before we started building the product, we built a framework called the APIC Disruption Framework. So APIC is an acronym for Product Innovation, Customer Centricity, and Organizational Enablement. So when it comes to product innovation, when you start comparing with large players like SAP, SuccessFactors, or Oracle, it's about the breadth that we offer. It is the amount of modules that we offer in-house, which not every competitor, especially in India, offers, right from higher to higher. It's the depth of complexity that aligns with organizational requirements. It's the user experience that we focus on. It's the technology framework and the technology stack that is very modern and AI focused that we use. And finally, the price that we have is very, very affordable for a price sensitive market like India. So that is with respect to the product innovation that we've done. We've also tried to disrupt it from an implementation and customer success perspective also, to which is where we see that a lot of implementations take too much time or fail because of not proper solutioning being done and proper product adoption not taking place due to lack of change management. So we addressed all these things in the Epic Disruption Framework, which sets us apart from other large players in the market like Oracle.
But what about what has typically happened, say, if you take SAP or Oracle, their HR solution or the module, basically either it came in organically, they acquired some HR specialist. So what has happened is typically these guys would already have ERP or certain other enterprise applications in an organization, and the HR solution that the organization would use would typically integrate. There is no need to integration ultimately. But here, when you are working on specifically an HR module, so for a CIO of an enterprise, suddenly replacing one module, so how is that challenge and how are you looking at that?
Especially when we're focusing on enterprises, that is the major challenge, right? If it's a small and medium business, easier to replace because either they have a manual process or a very basic in-house system which you can replace. Which is why we are one of the very few companies out of India which has its own iPaaS product, which is Integration Platform as a Service. So just like Dell, Boomi, or MuleSoft, we have our own product and we have more than 300 plus open APIs. So if say an organization using SuccessFactors as their core system, they can first initially take our performance management, learning management, sync it seamlessly, use it with single sign-on, and later slowly, once you start getting confidence in our product, eventually over a period of 2 years, 3 years, move entirely to our system. And even when say SuccessFactors or Workday is being used globally, they can still use our system in India and then integrate it with their systems globally. So we have a completely integratable suite where any module can be chosen, implemented, and seamlessly synced with your Oracle or Workday, SuccessFactors, or any other legacy system that exists.
So while that any module. Obviously, today now the APIs are there, you can integrate. But the challenge remains. You mentioned about the pricing also. So, for an existing organization which will have legacy solutions, lot of legacy solutions, what viability does it? And you are suggesting maybe not wholesale deployment, also piecemeal, one by one feature. Uh, so, how motivated or how would you encourage the enterprise to do that?
What we see for now is that though we have probably launched only 15th of July, we have over the last 4.5 years while developing, we have interacted with hundreds of HRs, right, while developing the product. So even today, what we understand is that because SAP and Oracle and Workday are popular, subscription gets taken, but the breadth of the modules don't get implemented, and not every module is localized for the Indian geography either. So we see a lot of companies that are in fact coming to us for recruitment, though they have purchased SuccessFactors recruitment, want to implement our recruitment, want to implement our PMS, want to implement our learning management. So we find it very, unless you want the entire module to be replaced, which is a challenge because they have long-term contracts, we're able to give them specific modules. I think there's a lot of interest that we've seen, and interest because it's localized for their requirements, which SuccessFactors or other cloud SaaS products today are not offering, especially for the Indian geography.
So this localization, what do you mean? Say, typically for an MNC organization who would have multiple presence in multiple geographies. So does that mean that person can have success factors in certain geographies and can deploy your solution, and
Absolutely.
the two will integrate?
Absolutely. We have pre-built connectors through our iPads. We have pre-built connectors for SuccessFactors and a lot of ADP, Oracle, Chronos, so all major legacy systems. So they can use these systems internationally. In India, if say an employee gets added to our system, it gets synced to the global system.
But once it gets synced, how about the security aspect? Because there's a lot of employee data also, uh, which can be vulnerable, and there are compliances also regarding
Yeah,
that.
see, security. See, APIs are secure, so that's first and foremost. When you talk about security, there are two levels of security, right? So there is obviously the cloud security that we offer that AWS kind of takes care of, with AWS firewalls and the architecture that we follow on AWS. And then our application level security, which we have inbuilt into our product. So we follow all best practices that any SaaS product in the world follows. We are ISO 27001 certified, which is the information security standard. We are SOC 2 certified. We comply with GDPR standards with the right to erasure and things like that. So from a security standpoint, I don't think we do anything short of what SuccessFactors would implement in terms of both architecture on the cloud as well as our application architecture to take care of security. So compliance wise, like I said, we follow basic compliances that products follow. So when it's everything is encrypted, so all the basic processes to thwart any attacks are already there. And once it is an API, anyway, it gets encrypted and decrypted at the other level, so data cannot be kind of mismanaged in between. Our system is secure, SAP is secure, so there is no challenge with respect to data security.
Okay, and another factor you mentioned, since obviously you are operating on cloud, you're working with AWS, or do you work with other cloud platforms?
Just
also?
AWS.
Just AWS. Okay. So what about in cases enterprises, if they are working on Azure or Google, what will happen?
See, at the end of the day, it's a SaaS product, so does our AWS is not accessed by them, so it doesn't make a difference for them. But we use AWS because we use a lot of AWS oriented services, which brings in a lot of resilience to our product. So we chose to go with AWS, and I don't think it makes a difference because we do provide Azure AD integrations and things like that. So from an I would say front end level, it doesn't make a difference. Back end anyway is managed by us. So,
So another thing is, you mentioned initially about though the product was launched on 15th July, but you had quite a number of beta
right.
sign-ons also. So what sort of organizations?
See, to be very honest, we didn't target large enterprises, which is what our product was focused on. Essentially, because we wanted to build a mature product and launch into the market. So typically, this is not a process that is followed. I'm sure you're aware that you build a product in 6 months, an MVP, and then try to scale it from there. The reason we didn't do that was because like I said, when we wanted to compete with SuccessFactors, so that's a 20-year-old product. From the face of it, every HRMS today claims to have all the modules. But what's the depth that these modules are offering makes a difference, because when you take a large organization spread across geographies, the configuration settings will not, especially in the SaaS product where there is no concept of customization, it becomes very challenging to kind of compete or get evaluated at the same level as success factors. So our beta customers are 500 to 1000 employee customers where we've tested this product, so that we build features around taking inputs and looking at the best practices, and now we're onboarding customers like Mitsubishi and real enterprise customers is what we're doing after the fusion.
So, since typically these small and medium-sized enterprises you are working on, so how was the conversation there? Is it led by the HR person or the CIO? And because typically small and medium enterprises won't even have that much
Setup.
structured.
Yeah, see, that is again, that was a challenge for us again. The reason being, when you build something that is an enterprise level product, though functionality and depth is very nice, the small and medium businesses don't have the team size to manage the system. Right? So today, if you look at an SMB product, adding an employee can be done in like 5 minutes of setup, right? Whereas when you take an enterprise product, there are staffing models, there is so much org structure that has to be built to even utilize the system. So that challenge is there, or was there, especially not from a CIO perspective, but even a CHRO perspective. You need different stakeholders for different modules like learning, and also it. The problem with working with the small and medium business, at least in the beta phase, was that they were not using the system previously, right? So they don't understand the challenges or what a SaaS product entails. So when you come from an on-prem customization mindset, moving to a SaaS configurability mindset is very very important. When you speak to enterprises today, because they've used success factors already, they understand what is possible, what is not possible, and how to align their business processes to a certain extent to our process to achieve efficiencies overall. So yeah, the beta phase has been a learning experience for us, but at the end of the day, that was not our focus. It was to target enterprises, which is what we're doing. We are finding a lot of positive, I think, feedback from enterprise customers, and we're about to implement for a lot of customers, which I can't take names today because we've not officially gotten orders from them. But we're quite positive that we will have at least 3 lakh users by
So typically these large enterprise customers, what sort of use cases do you have in terms of which are the features or they are using right now?
Right, see, they are more focused towards. See, definitely they're using something or the other already. Their main pain areas are in areas of performance, learning, recruitment, and engagement. Okay, so these are the modules where they don't feel that their current systems are adhering to their requirements. So we see large enterprise customers looking at those things and then purchasing the product, because your core leave attendance and payroll is pretty much straightforward today, right? So that's not something that they're really interested in. Their interest is more towards easier recruitment with resume parsing, recommendations, and a lot of AI features which we've built into performance learning, engagement, and recruitment. So their interest is more towards those models.
Okay. And how do you intend to do your go-to-market to reach out? What are the plans?
Right, so we have a direct selling model, so we don't have a channel partner program. Reason being, we want the experience to be very uniform across all of our customers. So, like I said, we participate in a lot of events. We have our own bespoke events. We have we have a proper sales, enterprise sales team within pre-sales, inside sales, implementation consultants, customer success, and all of these people are tier 1, tier 2 MBA students who have experience in the HR domain. So our go-to-market is pretty. So we have a digital strategy, we have physical strategy.
And what sort of sectors or verticals?
So like I said, we are sector agnostic, but typically we don't target IT companies primarily, because their expectations with respect to, they have some in-house system, or or their timesheet expectations are slightly different. But anything apart from IT, we are sector agnostic, and we also do have a lot of features that cater to certain sectors, like the retail sector, where salespeople or so we have built certain features in the product that cater to certain sectors also, which makes it more suitable for certain sectors, but overall I would say it is sector agnostic. So any organization with more than 1,000 employees we typically target.
Any organization more than
1,000.
1,000 employees, and they can be multiple locations.
Multiple locations, multiple legal entities, multiple pay cycles, multiple everything. It's as configurable.
So, can you brief more detail about the organization now in terms of the development team, the sales team, the infrastructure?
See, like I said, we've been very product focused till now. So we have about 250 people in product and engineering currently. We have about 100 people in sales and marketing division currently, and we're expanding our sales and marketing now. So, like I said, our India launch is done now, but we'll have to hire more for, especially for implementation teams to cater to the demand that we are currently seeing. And we have minimal operations in Dubai as well. Because we have some fighting customers. And in September, we will be launching in Dubai and Southeast Asia as well. So, because we've built payrolls for all these countries, about 7-8 countries in the Southeast Asian market, and then GCC we have payroll. So we are compliant with those markets. So we will officially launch the go-to-market, proper go-to-market, and eventually our goal is to go into North America probably next June of next year.
Apart from this geographical expansion, in terms of the product features or any other services around it, what are the plans?
Right. So product features, I mean, to be overconfident, I would say that we've covered everything. So today, I don't think there's a single even sub-module that we've not covered in the entire IT. From an HR standpoint, obviously, when you bring a lot of other things, you'll be missing out. But from an HR standpoint, we've covered everything. But that said, product development is a continuous process. So as requirements keep changing, every 15 days we have new features that keep coming. And we're starting thinking of adding payroll outsourcing as well as a service. And then we will also be adding consulting services in the future. So any organization that wants to revamp its HR processes, we will add that as a service as well to kind of make this digital transformation successful from an overall perspective as well, and just not from a tool perspective. So we want to be positioning ourselves as a HR strategic partner rather than just a vendor that is providing an HR.
And you mentioned say LMS as one of the modules. So now typically this is more generic. What I'm asking, it can be primarily for enterprise, even for SMEs to an extent. Is it HR? Because normally large enterprises will have a separate LMS team, that L&D and all that. So how does it? How are the dynamics now?
See, whenever we pitch this product, right, so definitely there are stakeholders that come from the L&D team. And our LMS is, I would say, one of probably, okay, I would not take international players, but Indian players don't offer the same LMS as we do, and most players don't offer an LMS. They have third-party integrations for LMS systems, but we have built it because again we wanted it to be a unique selling point for us, and so we can create self-paced courses, blended courses, hybrid courses, add content, and then LMS, like you said, is content-based, right? So there are so many content creators that build these things in formats called SCORM and XAPI. We support those formats as well. So we have full-fledged LMS wherein any L&D team can, probably replace an existing LMS and use our LMS system even from an LXC learning experience platform kind of perspective.
Okay. And if I may ask, lastly, if we look ahead for the next 1 or 2 years, whatever area, which are going to be the key focus areas?
See, like I said, by December we would be fully present in Southeast Asia, India, and the Middle East. June of next year we'll be starting to launch in North America. So for the next 2 years it's going to be Southeast Asia, Middle East, India, and North America. And later on we will look at Europe and markets.
Okay, and other than that, expansion-wise, any other key focus?
Currently, it is to kind of dominate and substantiate, build credibility around the HCM product, and then look at other products in the future. So, first goal is to touch a substantial amount of users onto our HCM product So that would be.
So since it's in a SaaS model, how is the pricing? It's per user or
It's per user per month actually. So it's per employee per month is the
per
price.
employee?
We're one of the very affordable enterprise.
The SMEs, how has been the reaction and how much handholding you have to do?
Like I said, we don't target SMEs, so. But yeah, see, at the end of the day, I would say that the product is not aligned with SME focus. So I wouldn't fault them. I would fault the product only because you can't have a product built for both SMEs and enterprise because the requirements vary a lot. So for enterprises, it's I would say very very easy to use, but the functionality and depth that large players bring. So in a nutshell, that's what I would like to say.
Okay.